What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Mike LaBelle. Welcome back to the playbook. If you've not subscribed, hit the subscription button. Today, we're talking long distance shooting. We're beating those bus drivers. We're taking advantage of what the game has provided in its current state. Trust in the Trivela. When we are analyzing long distance shooting, three main characteristics. One being the player and their own personal capability. What kind of stats do they have? Are we dealing with play styles? Number two is the actual area of the pitch. Certain areas is where you're going to score. Fits into the meta. And then three, powering it up and understanding angles. Let's talk about it. We've got the build-up. Santa Claus into a zone, and we're feeling extracurricular. And the bread and butter areas on the virtual pitch are typically right here. We've always called this more or less the Neymar angle. This is what you want. And in this case, we're talking long range. Let me give you a close-up. These are the zones right here and right here in this dangerous area. And this is not always a sure thing. There can be exceptions to the rule. But if you're looking for natural angling, that's where you have this Trivela. And if you have a player that has a Trivela trait, even better. You're holding L2. You're going to use the left analog stick in order to make sure that your player is lining up. And ideally, for a Trivela, you want a right-footed player on the right side of the pitch or the right half. You want a left-footed player on the left side of the pitch or the left half. Let me make this easier on the eyes. This would be considered the right half of the pitch, so right-footed player. And I'm using that semicircle to kind of line this up. This would be considered the left side of the pitch. You'd want a left-footed player. If you're using a Trivela in particular, that's the disclaimer. We're feeling ambitious. We've already got our angle here with Nakata. We're going to let Nakata challenge the goalkeeper. You're going to need just over 3 bars of power. Oh, this is the highlight. Absolute highlight out of nothing. Goalkeeper's not ready for. Now, you do need to have a player that has that in the locker. You can't do that with anyone. Thought we'd switch it up here. A little bit of an entry pass. You now have the middle of the pitch. But again, left-footed player with Hemp on the left side. The angle and the aiming is already done for me. You do not have to overcompensate. It's all about playing the way or taking a shot with the way that you're facing. That's going to work for you. Hold L2 and then get you some power. Get you something extra that you can work with. Hemp unleashes, goalkeeper, nothing to do. I've got more. About as textbook as it comes. Ball roll, which I highly recommend as a setup. We've done tutorials covering the ball roll, and we've done tutorials covering Trivelas. If you can add in time shooting, even better. I'll make a dedicated video to time finishing in particular, but my rule of thumb is work on one type of shot for time finishing and then go from there. So if you're going to practice Trivelas, so be it, or finesse shots or power shots or normal shooting or chip shots, that's where you want to work your early stage mastery of timed finishing. Diani, there's the ball roll. We now have the angle. I don't necessarily care that there's some defenders around me. At this point of the game, you have to beat the bus. People are parking it. There's going to be bodies around you. You have to challenge them. You have to take the chance. So knowing that I have an angle and that I can work with this, what's right is right. Goalkeeper is out of position. If it goes through his legs, around the defender, whatever it may be, I know that I've unlocked this. And again, right-footed player. The power doesn't necessarily change unless we were shooting from further distances. You had to run this back. You get to that 30-yard plus scenario. Not only does the chance of execution or conversion go down, but also you're going to need more power. We've already done the business here. Diani, inside. It is time green. Top corner. Goalkeeper can only watch that. I mean, this is about as perfect as they come. Ball roll just freezes a defender and also freezes a goalkeeper. Finesse angles. The angle does not necessarily change, but now you want the reverse. You want a left-footed player on the right side of the pitch, and you'd want a right-footed player on the left side of the pitch because you're cutting inside. Again, you don't have to do a lot with aiming here. We've got Hemp. I'm looking at the goalkeeper. I'm saying he's covering that near post. That's a good sign. There's a ton of bodies. I'm still going to need some sort of lift here, but I know that the back corner is available and that same angle that I keep talking about. This is your bread and butter zone. For finesse shots, same situation. If you're going to go the other way, if you had a right-footed player, you'd be looking that way. Crisscross applesauce is a lot on screen right now, but it should all make sense. In this case, again, we have Hemp. She's left-footed. We have the right angle. It's just a matter of making sure that we get enough lift, ideally, to beat these defenders. There's a bunch of them, but as long as we get some height, we'll beat them. There it is. Goalkeeper, post, gorgeous. Crossbar challenge. We achieved it. And it wouldn't be a Dirty Mike video on the playbook, which you've already liked and subscribed, gotten to this point of the video, if we didn't showcase both angles. So we're feeding Mkhitaryan Again, similar situation. I like showcasing consistency, continuity. We're not necessarily trying to showcase the game in some engineering format, but this is what the meta is all about. The angle's been opened up. We have our angle. We've got the shot list. The goalkeeper, again, is hugging that near post, which gives me a little more leverage to work with because we are taking a chance, and I don't even try to time this finish. And I want to stress that if you have players that have a play style or a play style plus in finesse shot or trivela, you don't often need to worry about timing the finish. You're already going to get some extra emphasis, and it just has more curvature. It's a little bit quicker. It moves just a little bit different. I bring up the long range shooting because look how many bodies are in the vicinity. We've got 9 and then a goalkeeper still to deal with. You need a way to penetrate all these players because we know the central passing, the tiki-taka, the easy on the eyes, the stuff that gets us out of our seats, it doesn't always coordinate and correlate and prosper and progress. We've had a couple patches, and thus far, especially not with the 71 plus tactical approach, you can't beat them with ease. Sometimes you got to unleash the Kraken. You got to go for the deep shot. Here it is. Mkhitaryan steps in, picture perfect. More of the same, penetrating pass. This is your gap. Again, we're into that zone that I cannot stress enough. Goalkeeper not even on screen, but we know that this is going to be the angle. Sometimes I take a quick glance at the radar just to see what's cooking. If you can do that, if you have the ability to micromanage, it does matter. It will help you long term. Rodrigo, absolute floater. Calling this the Incredible Hulk. We're dealing with power shooting. There are additional complications with the power shot, but generally L1, R1, and the shooting command, you got to wind it up. You can time it. You got to aim it a little more carefully because it doesn't give you the assistance. I like it in the middle of the pitch, which is what you're going to see here. Sun, I've got enough space to work with, and that's a big key. The fact that I have some space allows me to then step into that space. And it makes it where the goalkeeper can't do a lot of goalkeeper movement. Some people use this inside the box. A lot of folks will use it into a cancellation, which is almost more of a skill move functionality than it is an actual power shot. It's just a power shot into a cancel, which I've talked about when I went over some of the skill moves this year that are effective. And I can do a secondary tutorial covering the additional nicheness of that inclusion, but it's more of a skill combo than it is actually scoring with the power shot because people will just cancel it and then take it around a goalkeeper or cancel it to beat a defender. In this case, you just have to make sure that you have enough time. And I don't preach the power shot heavily unless you have a player that has the power shot plus play style, just because it has quicker execution. So if you don't have that, I wouldn't say it's going to be a major functionality of your gameplay, but it can definitely make an inclusion. It can have a place. You step in, you see me winding it up. We're in the zone. And again, you have to be much more careful when you're aiming. You do not want to over aim. As I was saying with the previous finesse shot and trivela, you're doing a lot of that aiming with your body. In this case, with the power shot, it's just way more sensitive, the way that you're facing, and also that left analog stick. So less is more. Otherwise, you're going to shank this. It's going to go to the corner flag. If you've not practiced power shots, don't just start bringing them into the equation. I like that I'm in the middle of the pitch because I feel like I can go both ways, which is not always the case when we're dealing with shooting. A lot of times once you've committed, it's hard to switch it up. But with the power shot, again, if you have the capability, the know-how, the practice, you understand the inputs, you can do this somewhat on the fly, where you can take a second to see if the goalkeeper is going to move because you're winding it up. Pure power. I also timed it green. Doesn't hurt. Got an instant replay because I think you need an instant replay. These make me some of the happiest you could be in the game. Just bread and butter. Not even the perfect player for it with Mkhitaryan, just to give you an idea of the advantage you can get. Goalkeeper does not stand a chance. Side netting. And the FC gods go crazy. L1, R1, shooting command. If you have any questions in regards to trivelas, finesse shots, power shooting, any other shot types, finishing in general, use the comments below. I will get back to everyone. I try to make these videos where I feel like I cover the basis, the easiest ways to learn. I'm trying to give you those keys to success. If you have not already, make sure to subscribe, and we'll have a lot more content coming out ASAP.